thumbs up. All right, guys, welcome to our first lesson about farms. We're gonna get started by just going over today's vocabulary, because today we're going to hear that farmers take care of animals by giving them food, water, and shelter. But what is shelter? I'm gonna pick up this card and I'm gonna show it to you guys, and we're gonna say the word shelter 3 times. Shelter, shelter, shelter. If you look in the picture, you can see that the people are underneath a structure at a bus stop. The definition that we have on our unit is a shelter is a structure or building that protects people and or animals from the weather, such as heat, wind, or rain. A shelter also keeps us safe from danger. In this picture, we do not have a building, but what are the people in this picture being kept safe from? Excellent. They're being kept safe from weather or rain. So I'm going to put this card right here because we are going to need it later. All right. The second word that we need to talk about is the word crops. Now, some of us have heard this word before, either in our plant unit or in our Mesopotamia unit. We're going to say the word crops 3 times real quick. Repeat after me. Crops, crops, crops. You will learn that farmers grow crops on their farms. Crops are plants planted to get food from. So can you think of things from previous units that were planted so people could use them for food? Some examples might be tomatoes or green peppers, which we planted in the classroom. I'm going to put crops up here behind me because we're going to need that one later as well. All right. Right now we're going to talk about our purpose for reading this text for today. So today we're going to learn about the buildings, crops, and tools used on a farm. Buildings, crops, and tools are going to be the details of our text. All of those things are things that I can find on a farm. Therefore, my main topic today is things on a farm. And so let's quickly review. The things on the farm that we are going to be tracking are crops, tools, and shelter. But in this case, specifically, buildings, tools, crops, and buildings. Let me really quickly scooch the camera. There we go. All right. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to launch into the text, and I'm going to help you by sort of taking picture notes as we go along to help us keep track of the details having to do with our main topic of things on a farm. This type of format should look familiar to everyone. We're going to listen and learn. Take a moment to notice who and what you see in this picture. What do you think we will be learning about? Spoiler, I already told you. In this new unit, we will be learning about animals that live on farms and how the farmer takes care of them. We will also learn about crops or plants that are grown for food that come from farms. Think of anything you already know about farms. Is there anything you would like to know about farms? All right. Today, Old MacDonald is going to be the narrator or person who tells a story. Old MacDonald is going to tell us about his family's farm. A farm is a place for growing crops and raising animals. This is a picture of Old MacDonald's family. He has 3 children, Delilah, Sadie, and John. Mrs. MacDonald and the children help run the farm. Where was this picture taken? Where does Old MacDonald live? Can we tell? Do we see some clues back here? Old MacDonald lives on a farm. In this picture, you can see 2 farm buildings, a barn and a house. It is important to have shelter for animals and people. Old MacDonald's farm is a family farm. His family grows crop and raises animals on their farm. Now, a big light just went off in my brain as I was reading that. They told me 2 buildings that were on the farm to give shelter to people and to animals. So I'm going to make a note of the 2 things that I just learned. The first thing that came up was a house. The house is shelter for Old MacDonald and his family. So we're going to put it up here. Does it go under tools, crops, or buildings? Buildings, of course. So I'm going to stick the house up there. And then the other thing that was just said was the barn. The barn. All right. The barn is shelter for who? The barn is shelter for the animals. So I'm going to put it up here. It is a building. So I'm going to put it right up here next to my house. I have a house and a barn, which are buildings on a farm. Old MacDonald's farm is small. Some farms are big. Big farms also grow crops or raise animals. Here comes Mr. MacDonald to tell us about his farm. Hi there, I'm Old MacDonald and I have a farm. As a farmer, I have many important jobs, but raising, that means taking care of my animals, is the most important thing I do. Farm animals cannot take care of themselves. Their parents are the farmer, like me, and I must raise them. Farm animals need food, water, and shelter to live. A shelter is something that protects people and animals from weather and danger. My barn is a shelter for my animals. The cow is hungry. One of her favorite foods to eat is hay or dried grass. I'm giving her some hay right now. If I look at the picture, I see Old MacDonald has some hay here, and he's using this thing to give the hay to the cow. This is my barn. I use the barn as a shelter from cold or rain for my animals. I also keep my tools or things that help me do my job. So that's the definition for our other category, is things that help Old MacDonald do his job. The pitchfork is a tool I use to move or pitch hay. So what did we just learn about? We just found something to put into our categories. If we look back at our picture, we had found a tool. I have here on my card the word pitchfork, and I have to either put that under buildings, crops, or tools. Should I put it here? Nah, I'm going to put it over here under tools. There is my pitchfork there under tools. The hay loft is a place in my barn to store the hay for my animals. I have another tool that helps me do my job. This tool is called a wheelbarrow. It helps me move heavier loads. Do we see anything in the picture that we think could be a wheelbarrow? There's some clues that I could use. I hear the word wheel in the word, and it's used to move things. let's look at my wheelbarrow card. Here is the card, hold it so that we can see the word, for wheelbarrow. This thing here is a wheelbarrow. I could put dirt, or it looks like she has put larger sticks in her wheelbarrow so that she can move them without having to drag one stick at a time all over her farm, because that would take a really long time. So what is the wheelbarrow? Is it a building that I can go into? Is it a crop? Or is it a tool? It is a tool. So if I am on my farm, I know that I'm going to see a house and a barn, and I might see someone using a tool like a wheelbarrow or a pitchfork. There's one last tool that the farmer mentions in this picture. He says, "That's my tractor over there. I drive my tractor all around the farm." I use my tractor as a tool to help me grow the animals' food here on the farm. On my farm, there are pastures full of green grass for cows and sheep to eat that I need to mow with my tool, the tractor. Did you guys hear what the text stated that the tractor was? Now, the text did state that the tractor was used. The text did state that the tractor was used for crops, but is the tractor a crop? A food that is grown, or a plant that is grown for people to eat? No, it's not. The tractor is a tool that farmers use on the farm. Do you remember what I said that the tractor was used for? It was used for helping the farmer grow his food and to keep the grass short, which I guess would be helping grow his food. He says, "I also plant and harvest crops of corn and wheat in the fields. When the crops are ripe and ready to be picked, I harvest or gather them." I heard the author mention, or Old MacDonald mention, some crops. Did you hear them? He said, "I also plant and harvest crops of corn and wheat out in the fields." So I'm going to take the first card I have the card that says corn. Corn is a crop. Who likes to eat corn? I like to eat corn, and cornbread and soups with corn in them. I'm a big fan of corn. And corn, is corn a building? No. And corn is not a tool. Corn is a food that is grown for me to eat, and eat it I do. I also have another crop that we're going to talk a little bit more about later. This crop is wheat. Wheat is grown on Old MacDonald's farm. So I'm going to bring it over here and I'm going to put it right by the corn because they are both crops. So as you see, my notes are taking on columns to help me keep track of things. I have my buildings I've learned about, my crops I've learned about, and my tools that I have learned about. Some animals eat dried corn. I need to have extra feed or food stored for my animals to eat in the winter when they may not be able to go out to the pasture and eat because it's too cold or even snowy. Sometimes I feed them corn in the barn. I store extra feed for the animals in a silo. Now, if you don't know what a silo is, there's something in this picture that looks a little bit unfamiliar to me. It's this tall thing right here. But the author of the text was kind enough to put the definition of silo next. So next I read, a silo is a building that is like a giant can or container. This silo is full of dried corn. Okay, so it's a structure, and our text said that it was a building. Can you guys say this one with me? Because I want everyone to remember. Say silo. Good job. So this is my silo. And it is a structure. And what is it keeping safe from the weather? The corn. So where am I going to put silo? Is it a tool? Kind of. It does help me keep the corn safe. But in that case, a house would be a tool too, and it's not really. So I'm going to come over here and I'm going to put silo under buildings because it is a structure and because the text told me that the silo is a building for storing dried corn. Well, I have plenty of jobs to do today, and there's always work to do on the farm. I'll bet you can think of some jobs or work that I need to do today. What do you think? I think he probably needs to do his most important one. Do you remember what it was? It was to feed the animals. So, but if I look at the picture, I can see that he's got some handyman job going on. And I see another tool, but the text doesn't tell me about it. He says, while I'm fixing the gate, your teacher will tell you about some of the foods that come from farms. Bye-bye. Okay, so farmer is gone, but we still have one more card left to talk about. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to keep reading. Farms are very important for growing food. Corn is one of the vegetables Old MacDonald grows on his family farm. And we have it right here on our note catcher. The fruits and vegetables we eat also come from farms. Can you name some that are shown in this picture? Because all of these fruits and vegetables got to start on the farm. What do we see that we know? Let's see. Who can tell me? What's this? Carrots, yep. How about this? Grapes, that's somebody's favorite. And we got these. These are a little harder. These are called radishes. Those are a root vegetable. All right. So here's a cool fact. Even French fries were once a potato. And potatoes are grown right on Old MacDonald's farm. That potato is sliced and cooked to make your French fries. I don't know about you, but I've been missing French fries while I've been staying at home. So I have one final detail that needs to go onto my note catcher. And my final detail is potatoes. And that's a crop that Old MacDonald grows. So I'm going to turn around. And as I just said, potatoes are a crop. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put him right here with the other crops. I have corn, wheat, and potatoes, and they are all crops. Right, we are coming up to the end of this. Thanks to farms, we have dairy products like ice cream, butter, and cheese. Take a look at this picture of dairy products. Do you notice one or two of the dairy products you like to eat? I do. I know I'm really fond of this one. But I like cheese, I like milk, I like to put butter on my toast. How about things on here? Foods made from grains, such as cookies, crackers, bread, and cake, do not come straight from the farm. Old MacDonald's didn't grow bagels, but the ingredients or things you need to make the bread and other foods do come from farms. And lastly, all kinds of meat comes from farms too. Here is a burger, some bacon, salami. All right, so really quickly, let's talk about meals that our families enjoy eating together. Do you think that your favorite meals got their start on a farm?